Hey, what's up guys, my name is Chris and I have with me the Pocophone F1 and welcome to possibly the most requested review on my channel so far. So Snapdragon 845, 6 or 8 gigs of RAM, 64, 128 or 256 gigs of internal storage and a 4000 mAh battery. And all that is going for $300. And that's all that matters to most people, and that's what's generating all the buzz around this phone. You do realize those are the Note 9 specs, the Snapdragon, the internal memory, the RAM, those are all the Note 9 specs. And people wondering how was Xiaomi able to squeeze those specs inside a phone and sell it at $300 in this era of $800, $1,000, $1,200 smartphones and $700 budget smartphones. Apple. So I've been using this phone for about a week and a half now, and for the most part I've been amazed at how much value I'm able to get at this price. And I knew even before I got this phone that I'll not be able to get to this price without some sacrifices. So Xiaomi made some executive decisions to leave out some I'd say prestigious features that simply just add to the prestige and look of the phone, and concentrated more on functionality of the phone and speed. And they were hoping that if they can lower the price to start at $300, then you won't mind the emissions they made so much, and then they will have a successful entry-level Pocophone. So is this phone worth your $300? Well, first of all, it's an LCD display at the front, not OLED, 6.2 inches, actually 6.18 to be exact, and it comes with a notch up at the top. And at this point I'm done complaining about the notch. I think it's more of a marketing gimmick or a marketing feature more than it's a necessity. And I gave up complaining. I don't even care anymore. But that LCD display is clean and neat, and the colors are looking good. It's 2246 by 1080 pixels, which represents more than 400 pixels per inch, and that's really good for an LCD display. The chin and the bezels look unnecessarily thick, thicker than most phones of 2018, especially the chin at the bottom with those curves that look unnecessarily thick, and they look like they're taking up screen real estate. But it's not too big of a deal because I actually stopped noticing it as soon as I started using the phone. The back is plastic, hardened plastic, which they're calling polycarbonate, and I like it. It really feels smooth, and the matte finish really looks and feels very cool. Of course, it's not as prestigious looking as the glass backs we've been seeing on phones in 2018, but you know, with the plastic back you'll be getting some kind of insurance that your heart won't be melting every time the phone slips out of your hand. It's a very sturdy and durable material. I like it. And as you might have noticed, there's no wireless charging on this phone, which isn't a big deal to me. I've never really cared about wireless charging, but it does have fast charging, and the fast charging brick comes in your box when you buy the phone, and that's something I care about, so that's a nice touch. The buttons feel really high quality and clicky, and they're all on the right side. And then you have the headphone jack at the top, USB Type-C at the bottom, dual stereo speakers which actually sound really good. They don't get really loud, but the quality of sound coming out of this is top notch. There's also no IP rating for this phone for water and dust resistance, but when you take out the SIM card tray, you can see that there's no rubber lining around it, so you can pretty much forget about any kind of waterproofing at this point. And then you have performance, and this is where the value of this phone really counts with that Snapdragon 845 processor. Actually, right now as I'm recording this video, there's no Android phone out there with a faster processor than the Snapdragon 845. Actually, a Geekbench score will show you that the Pocophone's performance is only second to the iPhone X, which is crazy. The fingerprint scanner is also really quick, and then the MIUI 9 skin on top of Android 8.1 is making everything better. And I like the fact that it's so close to stock Android and they didn't try to do too much. Instead, they added a couple of nice useful features, like making the battery info available to you as soon as you plug it in. And then the hardware team even decided to put the LED notification light at the bottom instead of at the top. It's different. I'm not quite sure how I feel about it, but it works. And then the 4000 mAh battery. It guarantees me a full day of usage, and maybe two if the usage is not very intense. But since I started using this phone, I can confirm that I've never charged the battery in the middle of the day. Never. So the battery life is really good. Then the camera. The camera is usually the deal breaker for most of these cheap phones, but this Pocophone continues to amaze me. So on the surface, it's dual cameras at the back, a 12 megapixel sensor with f1.9 aperture, plus a 5 megapixel sensor with f2.0 aperture. I've been shooting photos with this camera over the last couple of days pretty confidently, and I've shared them on Instagram, and all I can say is that this is a great camera for the price. The color accuracy is good, they skimp a little bit on dynamic range. Personally, I feel like the camera tends to overexpose and over brighten photos a little bit too much for my liking, but most people don't mind it, and I guess I'm a little bit too picky, but it's still good. It's still a good camera for a $300 smartphone. It's legit. So in general, you might have noticed by now that Xiaomi is really trying to strike a balance by putting in the highest end functional features and reducing the price as much as possible. And to achieve that, they have to shave off or eliminate some of the features you might want but you don't really need in everyday running of your smartphone. And for me, I think they've struck the balance and come up with a performance beast, the best smartphone under 500 bucks for me, and it's just 300 bucks. Performance wise, it's the best Android smartphone out there, even faster than the Note 9, and comes only second to the iPhone 10. That is really cool for a $300 smartphone. And if you want to spend your 300 bucks on this phone, that will be money very well spent, and it's totally worth it. Thanks for watching. Until the next one, my name is Chris, and don't forget to subscribe.